Coach Nate here from the Running Experience. So yeah, it's 2018. I am standing on Heartbreak Hill, the worst weather for the Boston Marathon I have ever seen. My hand is freezing so quickly that I can barely hold my phone for 20-30 seconds before I have to switch hands and record. And I'm watching as a coach, but I'm also watching a race as a fellow runner and marathon runner and someone who's done Boston before. You know, you always have that mix of envy, like I want to be that runner out there too, but also that relief that I'm not out having to push myself in these crazy conditions. You know, this is a little ironic because just 2 months prior to that, I had my own opportunity to race a local 10K in San Francisco. I decided I'd registered and dropped out, not because of any valid reason like I was sick or I was injured. It was really because I didn't think I was gonna have a fast time and I didn't want what felt like a slow time attached to my name. So watching these athletes gut it up this hill at mile 20, which is like the hardest part of any marathon, but you're going up Heartbreak Hill, which is super tough in these gnarly conditions, you know, I have this uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. It just doesn't sit well, and it has nothing to do with the temperature, in all honesty. It has everything to do with the decisions that athletes make. A lot of athletes dropped out for the day. They were cold. Maybe they decided they didn't want to waste their effort on a day that wasn't going to be very fast, so they could just try again a little bit later. But there are other athletes who keep going, including the eventual first female American winner in like 30 plus years, Des Linden, who just survives this war of attrition and comes out aces. She kills it. You know, when I think back to the 10K race that I just did, where I was like, no, I'm just not gonna feel that great, so I don't show up the race. It's a little bit of a gut check. I'm just like, man, what would I do if I was in this situation? And I realized that in the past, I've been so attached to my time and performance that I've opted out of a lot of races just because I didn't think I was gonna perform. And you know, that just doesn't sit well with me. I realized more and more that this feeling of, well, if it's not gonna go my way, I'm just not gonna play altogether, it burned me out of running, and I didn't step on a starting line for years. So fast forward to this fall when I committed to doing a 30-day run streak challenge, and to publicly document it wasn't a race, but it still had this feeling of vulnerability. Here I am, much more of a public coach, very publicly announcing that I'm gonna do this, and there's that same weird gut sense. What if you don't make it? What if you don't do as well as you think you're gonna do? What will other people say if you don't? What does this say about your coaching? To make matters worse, the first couple days didn't really go well at all. I thought the first couple days would be a gimme, but my body felt beat to snot. I struggled, and I was already starting to have that conversation of, it's okay if you back out. You don't want to hurt yourself. How am I going to turn this into a positive lesson for my community? But there was also something in me that was like, you know, remember that Boston, you know, don't drop out. See if you can just go the next day. And I just kind of kept with that. And I just tried to, every time I get spun up, I try to talk myself down and get to the next day and the next day and the next day. I'm truly in an unexplored territory here. My times are really slow, which I'm just even bummed to post on Strava. And it just puts that weird place of judgment on me, if I'm just being completely honest. In the third week of this run, I'm expecting just another trudge fest where I'm just gonna go slow and woe is me and la-di-da. But I run and my legs are there. I don't know if I had some special magical recovery the night before, but they all of a sudden had this freshness in this spring where I didn't feel like I was just surviving this run. I felt like I was running. It felt really, really good. And it was just one of those days where I went further than I did on previous days, and I did pickups and some speed stuff, things that make me feel really good like an athlete. And I was just like, hot damn, where did that come from? And thinking back to that 2018 Boston Marathon race in those gnarly conditions, watching all these runners gut it out, knowing they're probably not gonna have a very fast race or time they can be proud of. It makes me realize that dropping out or deciding to quit, while an extremely personal decision that I do want to give a caveat to for those who needed to drop out on that day, look, no judgment at all on me. That was super nasty. We all needed to be safe. But when I think about other times I've dropped out, especially myself, like the 10K race, I made a negative judgment call on my own performance before I even gave myself the opportunity to perform, which is why Des Linden's words have such personal resonance for me. Keep showing up, because as soon as you think you have running and your abilities figured out, think again. You just might surprise yourself. Today just might be your day. And I'm not saying this is an easy road. This is a road that I continue to travel and continue to have to make that decision. As I show in my video going through my whole 30-day streak, I go through a lot of highs and lows in that month, and I share my battles and the decisions I had to make to keep moving forward. You'll definitely like it. I think it'll be a good shot in the arm for you and your goals. Speaking of which, you keep earning your miles. You keep showing up for your training goals. I'm gonna keep filming, enjoying this beautiful day. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.